school students. Hello, how are you? Welcome to our video lessons for English 7. Congratulations for having successfully finished your week 1 module for the 4th quarter. And now, you are about to learn your week 2 lesson for the 4th quarter. Are you ready to learn now? Well then, let's begin. Alright! Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, grade 7 students. So welcome to our week 2 lesson for the 4th quarter, which is entitled Employing a Variety of Strategies for Effective Interpersonal Communication. So you could see from the title itself the important words which would be the focus of our today's lesson. So we will be talking about variety of strategies. For what? For effective communication. What kind of communication? For interpersonal communication. Now, for today's lesson, our lesson competency or our learning competency shall be employ a variety of strategies for effective interpersonal communication. So what are these interpersonal communication forms? They are the interview, dialogue, and conversation. Alright? So you are expected to employ these variety of strategies. So let's begin. Of course, the most important word in our title is communication. So what comes in your mind when you hear the word communication? Well, basically, if you will relate it during this time of pandemic, you would think of Zoom, Messenger, Skype, Google Meet, via text or via call. These are the means of communication during this time of pandemic. These are the ways we could talk, we could speak with our friends, with our teachers, and so on. So basically, when we say communication, we're talking about sending message and receiving one from the person we are talking to or we are chatting to or whatever. Basically, that's communication. But based on your last, when we say communication, it is something that we do in our daily living. I agree. Every day, we communicate. We talk to our brothers, to our sisters, to our parents, and then when we go out, to the drivers outside, to the vendors in the stores where we buy our foods. We do it similar to breathing. It's like as normal as breathing when we communicate. And just like what I told you a while back, when we say communication, there is a transfer of information. Actually, we have what we call models of communication. One important thing we should remember about models of communication is that there are elements. There are elements involved in a communication process. There is a sender, there is a receiver, and what do they send and what do they receive? It's the message. They transfer information. The message could be information, ideas, emotions, and so on. Communication may take place person to person, person to group, or vice versa, group to person or another. Okay? And this is something that binds humans. Okay, let's explain this one. One unique characteristic humans have compared to other creatures in this world is that we know how to communicate. That is through the language we speak. Unlike cats and dogs, we are not really sure if they understand each other when they produce sounds such as meow meow or ow ow. Unlike us, our words are clear, our dialects are clear, our languages are clear, and through these languages we are able to unite other people. We bind humans, and as we bind humans, we build communities. We develop and produce innovations out from communication. And the most important thing, communication is used to connect to other people. Okay? Now, there are two kinds of, two general forms of communication. We have the interpersonal and we have the intrapersonal. For today's lesson, our focus is interpersonal communication. So what is an interpersonal communication? So it is a process of exchanging feelings, information, and others. Exchanging, so meaning to say there are two or more parties involved, two or more persons involved. That's why it's interpersonal. It's like inter-barangay. Different barangays compete with one another. So in an interpersonal communication, different persons, interpersons communicate with one another. They exchange ideas and feelings. And how do we execute this interpersonal communication? How can we do it? We can do it in two different forms. We can do it verbally or we can do it non-verbally. So we can exchange messages verbally and non-verbally. So when we say verbally, we talk. It's either spoken or written. On the other hand, when we say non-verbal, it's all about gestures, body movements, facial expressions, hand gestures, okay? Those are non-verbal forms. And when we say interpersonal communication, there is a mutual influence. Just like what you know, mutual understanding. So if you have mutual understanding, you love someone and then that someone loves you back. So similar to interpersonal communication, there is a mutual understanding. You talk to that person and then he also talks to you. And it helps individuals manage their relationships. How can we maintain good relationship with our siblings, with our parents, with our loved ones, classmates, and teachers if we don't communicate? Okay? Now, just like what I told you, there are different forms of communication. Okay? There are actually three major forms based on the titles, based on the title of our lesson. These are dialogue, interview, and conversation. Okay, let's talk about them one by one. The first one is interview. Maybe you have heard of this from your older brother, from your parents, uncles, aunties. Maybe you know when there is an interview, they apply for a job, right? Now, what happens in an interview? It's actually a conversation for gathering information. In research, one conducts interview by asking questions. Same as with job interviews. The manager or the HR staff ask questions about the applicant. Interviews can be conducted formally or informally, depending on the setting and the person being interviewed, okay? Normally, formal interview, you go to the office where you are applying for a job, and then there's a particular schedule wherein you will be asked to attend, and then you will conduct the interview. But during this time of pandemic, we could do it virtually. You can do it via Skype, via Messenger, or via phone call, right? Now, I have here a sample interview video. Okay. And I want you to watch it and listen carefully. Will you please give me a reason why we should hire you in this position? Well, first of all, thank you very much for entertaining my application. Well, I think I deserve to be hired in this position because of my rich experience, related experience, because I worked for 15 years in my previous company, and from those years I have learned all the skills that I believe are important to have in this position that I am applying for. And aside from that, I am a hardworking and I am very much willing to learn from you and from my coach. Okay, thank you very much for that. So we will just send you a text message regarding your application. Have a nice day. Okay, there you have it. Now, the second form of interpersonal communication is conversation. All the time, every day, we do conversation among our friends, our classmates, our relatives. So what is a conversation? It is a progression of exchanging of thoughts among participants. When we share stories, we share ideas, we converse with these people. A conversation takes place in groups such as political parties, religious groups, students, employees, and others. I also have a video of a sample conversation. Now, again, I want you to listen attentively and watch it.
Hi friends! How are you? Well, I'm okay. Wow, it's good to know. What about you? Well, I'm okay, though I'm still adjusting. Amazing! It is nice to know that even if it's new normal, everybody is okay.
Okay, so there you have it. You have seen my brothers were actually quadruplets, so they are conversing with one another. Now, the last one is what we call dialogue. Okay? Dialogue, maybe you have heard of it. Di means two. So, when we say dialogue, there are two persons involved in the exchanging of ideas. It's somehow and somewhat similar to conversation. It's just that there are some fine line of that separates. There is a disparity between the two. There's a difference. Find a thin difference between the two. Now, when we say dialogue, the word dialogue came from the Greek words dia and logos. Dia means through, and logos is translated to word or meaning. So it's through words or meaning, exchanging of ideas through words and creating meaning. The most ancient meaning of the word logos means to gather together. In that respect, when we say dialogue, logos may be rendered as a relationship. So we can conclude that dialogue is a more relational form of communication. It's also a form of communication. It's just that basing its etymological origin or the words used, it is more relational. So maybe it's more intimate when you do dialogue. I want to have a dialogue with you, says your teacher or your father or your mother. You get it? So these are the three forms of interpersonal. By the way, there is this video, a sample video of a dialogue. Okay, I want you to watch and listen.
Hello, son. What's wrong? Why are you sad? Dad, I find it difficult to answer my module. Oh, I see. Don't worry. There is an answer for that. You just have to watch this video lesson, and definitely that topic will be easier to understand.
It's actually my father you have seen, and he was talking to my brother. Okay, so they were having some dialogue. Now, if you want to be an effective speaker or an effective communicator, there are certain tips and strategies you have to apply to achieve it. Okay, now I will be giving 9 effective strategies for communication. Let's begin. The first one, if you want to be an effective communicator, you have to follow this one. Don't show negative body language. Remember that communication may be verbally or non-verbally. Not because you did not speak, it means there is a success in your conversation. But what if you have shown, based on your gestures, that you are not interested with the person talking with you? So that may lead to miscommunication or to a problem. So make sure from verbal and non-verbal, you are very positive. Okay? Next, do not interrupt to the person to the other person when they are speaking with each other. Okay? If you don't belong to the conversation, do not intervene. Just let them talk. If they ask you to talk, then that's the right time you talk. And remember, you have to think before you speak. There are certain things that we cannot turn back if once we did them already. Same as with time. If time passed by, you cannot turn back time. Same as with words. Once you said them, once you uttered them, it's easy to say sorry and to correct yourself, but it's difficult to regain the trust of that person once you have said something bad already. Okay? So think before you speak. And you have to listen well. Listen. They say, if you want to be an effective communicator, you have to use your second heart. What is your second heart? Your left ear plus your right ear, put them together. You have your second heart. You have to listen. It's not always about you dominating the conversation. Let them talk and listen. And then when they want you to talk, then you talk so that they will also listen. Fifth, don't be defensive or attacking. Be neutral, okay? Do not easily jump into conclusion. Let them finish first what they are saying, and then do not easily believe with what they tell you. You have to be neutral. You have to be decisive, okay? And so that you can be productive, do not go away from the topic in your conversation. Just stick to the topic. If you're talking about COVID vaccine, do not go to Mocha Yuson, do not go to Duterte's administration or whatever. Talk about vaccine, okay? And of course, you have to be confident with your ideas. It will actually affect the trust of the person you're talking to. If you seem like doubtful with what you are saying, then most probably he would not believe you. But if based on the way you talk to him or you talk to her, there is confidence, then most probably everything that you say, he will listen to it. 8, you have to be open to feedback, okay? Remember that communication progresses if there is a feedback. When you send a message and then they heard it and then they will give you a response, and then communication goes on and on and on. You have to be open for criticisms so that you will become a better speaker or a better person. And number 9, you have to use the right communication method. When is the right time we use verbal? When is the right time we use non-verbal? When is the right time you speak? When is the right time you write? Okay, you have to know that. Proper timing. So those are the 9 effective strategies. Those are the 9 strategies to be an effective communicator. Okay? So we are through with our lesson. We talked about communication, interpersonal communication, the different forms, dialogue, conversation, and interview, and the 9 strategies for effective communication. Now, let's see if you have understood my lesson. Let's proceed now to our activity. So in your last, you have 3 or more activities. Now, what we will be doing here is that we will answer the first one, and then you do the succeeding ones on your own, okay? For letter A, read the following statements and tell whether each is true or not. Write capital letter true, T-R-U-E, if you believe it's true, and otherwise write false. Are you ready? Okay, then let's begin. Number 1, true or false? Interpersonal communication is an exchange of thoughts with another individual. I'm going to give you time.
3, 2, 1, go!
Okay, that is true. Very good. Now let's continue. You just answer the succeeding activities. For letter B, identify what is asked for each item. Refer from the notes discussed about. So you can refer to your last. Write your answer on the space provided before the number. So let's begin. Identify. It is a conversation for gathering information.
3, 2, 1, go!
Very good. Interview, asking and gathering questions. Letter C. Answer briefly the following questions based on the strategies for effective communication. Okay? What are the 2 ways in which interpersonal communication can be executed?
3, 2, 1, go!
I discussed it a while ago. It could be verbally or non-verbally. Okay? Verbal or non-verbal. Okay, letter D. This one is more complicated compared to the previous ones. Choose a topic from the list below and conduct an interview. So you will conduct an interview. with your family members. Write your questions in the interviews column in the table below. Then write your interviewee's responses in the column provided. After the interview, answer the questions that follow. You may use extra sheet of paper for this activity if necessary. So here are the topics you can choose from. How to strengthen the family's bond, the most important lesson this pandemic has taught your family, that's TAUGHT, the best and worst experience during the pandemic, the place you would want to go to with the whole family after the pandemic, other topics you would want to talk about during the interview. Choose one from this, and then you conduct your interview. Don't forget to write the name of yourself, your interviewee, and then your questions and his or her responses. And then after which, answer the following. Okay. Letter E, this will be the last one. In this activity, you will be given options on how you will present a scenario of an interpersonal communication process that focuses on one of the given topics below. Choose between option 1 and option 2 on how you will accomplish this task. So you're going to choose from the topic given. So you have to choose from this: distance learning, vaccination in the Philippines, building a stronger family bond, mobile gaming, wow, very timely, places you wish to visit, or other topic of your own. And then after which, you have to choose between the two options. Option number 1, if you don't have internet access, you can take a video of yourself together with at least 2 of your household members, your brother or sister, your parents, relatives, as you employ the strategies I taught you a while ago for effective communication. You may either do a dialogue or a conversation. It's up to you. So you have to show interest, okay, don't show negative body movements and so on. And then choose a topic from the given topics about in your interpersonal communication process and submit your video to your English teacher depending on his or her instructions, okay? And number 2, if you have the access in the internet, then you can do this one. So you can if you don't have internet access or any gadget, so you have to use in shooting. So if you don't have these gadgets, you can simply write your conversation or dialogue on the table provided below, or you may use another sheet of paper if necessary. Okay, so if you don't have cell phone, you can just get a piece of paper and write everything. Make sure to follow the strategies for effective communication. After having the conversation or dialogue, reflect on the communication process by answering the questions below. So use this format in writing. So names of the people involved, speaker 1, speaker 2, and then your dialogue and conversation lines. So just have to write it. And answer the following questions. With whom did you have a dialogue or conversation? Why did you choose to talk about your topic? And what strategies of interpersonal communication that you use in your dialogue or conversation? You have 9, remember? And this will be your criteria, the rubric for your output. So if you want to get high grade, you have to go to the exemplary column. Okay, just have to read it and understand it. Follow it. This will be your guide in your output. And last part, reflection. Very important. Don't miss this one in your last. So what is the importance of interpersonal communication? In your own words, in your own perception, what do you think is the importance of our lesson, interpersonal communication? And finally, how can you apply what you have learned today from your real life? Okay, there is no wrong answer. All you have to do is to express your ideas. And these are the references where I got my lessons, the discussion. Okay, we are acknowledging them. Okay, just have to read. And there you have it. Thank you very much for watching our video lesson today. I hope somehow you have learned it, and I hope I have helped you understand your lesson in your module. Please, if you want to be updated with the other videos in the succeeding lessons, don't forget to follow and subscribe in my social media accounts. My Twitter and Instagram at StiffSpear. You can also follow and subscribe in my vlog. I have my videos there, Stiff Spear's vlog, and my FB page at Balanti High School Video Lessons. Thank you very much. See you again next week. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.